Hi, and welcome to our latest edition of Chamber Chat. My name is Sunny, and I'm delighted to be joined by the one, the only, Dave Rushton from Paradigm Shift Consulting. Dave, I've got to ask, you seem very nervous.
Yeah, I like to talk, but not particularly about me. And you told me this is going to be about me today. But no, really pleased to be here and really grateful to be invited. Thank you.
Delighted to have you here, Dave. So I'd like to start with, for the audience, just tell us about Dave and tell us about Paradigm Shift.
Okay, so...
within reason.
Paradigm Shift Consulting is a group collective. There are over 20 of us. We work in pharmaceutical wholesale distribution. So when people ask what I do, I joke that we enable drug dealers, and then we get some quite interesting reactions. We have a sister company called Canna Strategy, which licenses for medicinal cannabis. So we license weed dealers. And then this here as well, which is our new non-profit, the UK GDP Association, which we've created to help provide affordable and potentially free consultancy for the simple models, potentially government agencies and NHS, which can struggle to afford, and charities as well.
Oh, brilliant, Dave. Nice to know it's not your typical sort of import and export market that you're dealing in. Yeah. I want to take it right to the beginning. Tell me a little bit about your first job.
My first job was working for Budgens supermarkets, actually. So I worked for Budgens after college. I had a job stacking shelves, but after a week they saw how fantastic I was, and I ended up having the off-license section. Although I did a little stint on the deli with a nice plastic straw boater, which was delightful, with a green ribbon on it. So I worked there for about a year and a half, and it was a really good grounding, actually. Working in retail and customer facing, I think, is useful for almost everyone. It helps you get over the anxiety. So I think maybe now I need to have a job doing podcasts so I can get over being nervous about being on camera.
That can be arranged.
Thank you.
So that first job, you mentioned it being a B2C business and a B2C business model. People, I'm a big believer in people buying into people. Where did you go after Budgens?
After Budgens, I worked in... hospitality. So I worked in hotels and bars for a while, probably most notably down in the New Forest. When I was 22, I worked for Virgin Hotels. So Richard Branson had bought a small chain called Voyager. I think after about 18 months he realised that it wasn't for him. But it was very good when he was the boss at Christmas. We got a pound of chocolates and some Virgin vodka. So it was a little staff party when we had that one. But again, that was really good. We had quite a broad range of people. It's a little hotel just outside Brockenhurst in the New Forest.
Okay.
Probably about 3 miles. There's nothing. There were no buses, nothing. So we had to make our own entertainment. Obviously, with vodka and chocolate, you can make a lot of entertainment. But that was a really good grounding for me. We had minor celebrities, footballers, people coming down. I think they shot an episode of the British Empire.
Oh, wow.
Down there once. One of our chefs just
nice.
Right through the filming. It did see just straight through as they're filming their New Year's episodes.
Might happen on this podcast. No. Brilliant, Dave. So getting an idea, Budgens, into the hospitality sector. What happened after? What next?
So then I went into, I did a couple of other hotels, but then I went into sales. So I actually worked as a pest control surveyor.
Oh, wow.
9 months. Yeah, for a company in Walthamstow, Rushton Environmental Services. I was given a little patch in southeast London. It was kind of the tester patch. But I liked it. I was quite successful there. So I took that on. But I tell you, it puts you off eating in town. You know, Brick Lane is running alive with mice. There was, I'm not going to mention any names of nightclubs that were full of cockroaches.
Please don't.
No. But you're going in and you're checking a crawl space, you're lifting the thing, and then, you know, dead roaches dropping on you. Luckily, I don't freak out about that kind of thing, but it could have been traumatic for people. But it was really helpful. It set me up for what we do now. helping pharmaceutical wholesalers, manufacturers with their storage and distribution. So I have a special interest in pest control at a site that most people probably don't have.
And just taking it a little step back from there, Dave. So you mentioned a sales role. How did you find the sales environment?
I was a massive underachiever. I was really good as an account manager, but if I didn't think someone needed what I was selling, I'd tell them. So
I really like
target was really bad. Although sometimes you say to people, I don't think this is the right thing for you, and they seem to want it more, which I think, reverse psychology. I think it's like the thing that estate agents do when they're trying to encourage you to buy a house an hour and a half away from London. Oh, it's a gated community. It's very exclusive. I don't think you qualify. To me, I don't qualify. But yeah, I found account management much more pleasing. Fixing problems has always been a thing. My family are engineers, so my brother and my dad. My brother's a mechanical engineer, and my dad's a petrochemical engineer, although he's been retired some time. But we do process engineering, so we work in quality management, like ISO 9001, which is a quality system that kind of works for everybody. Ours is sort of specific around medicine, so all the things that I've done before now have helped. And I think having me being able to do a bit of this is quite helpful for the team. As I say, we work more as a collective than, I don't really think that people work for me, they work with me. I'm trying to be the boss that I always wanted and couldn't quite find. But it helps being able to work with someone who isn't motivated by money, who isn't there for the money. The money is a side effect, and I won't lie, if you put pharma at the end of most things, the price seems to go up 4 or 5 times. We have a lot of people in the market who have a lot of experience, a lot of, ex-inspectors, and that keeps the price point high for work. But we do very good work. We do remedial work as well. So if you imagine Ramsay's kitchen nightmares, but for drug wholesalers, when someone crashes the car, with parachutes, 7-8 people sometimes to stabilise the company and get it back on its feet and move on. A little bit like Nanny McPhee, I think, when you don't want us but need us, we're there, and when you want us but don't need us, we're off. But some people keep us. They decide, it's good, you've helped us with this, we'd like you to check it now and again. But it keeps things interesting. It's a bit more worthy than making money for other people, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, Dave. And I think the term extension to business sort of springs to mind there in terms of what you offer. And I'm gonna get to paradigm shift. But you mentioned there your brother, and you mentioned your dad, and you spoke so fondly about them. Family important to you?
Yeah. We won Family Business of the Year 2021 with a bit of help from our junior associates. I think the cuteness factor may have chipped in. But I think when I did the pitch for that one, it was, what is a family? And if you look at kind of the definition of a family and what the definition of a business was, it didn't quite fit. But everyone that works with me is either someone I've known for some significant time or someone who's come as a referral from one of the team. We don't recruit in the traditional way. We don't put out adverts. I keep getting this thing on LinkedIn, are you hiring? It's no. I clicked it once out of interest. That has a really interesting hit. I had some guy who had a clothing line who was telling me his passion is clothing, and I'm thinking, well, why are you applying for quality management? And when you put these sort of adverts and you're saying, well, need a driving license, need 2 years experience in good distribution practice, GP, should have experience to that. No. We even had a McLaren engineer who applied, and Wayne, who works with me, loves Formula One, and I thought, well, if I hire him, nothing would get done because he'd always be asking, what do you do with the engine? Can you work on mine?
I think
sorry, Wayne.
Yeah, sorry, Wayne. So sorry. I think what's really important there is the recruitment process, and many businesses are finding it quite challenging at this moment in time in terms of attracting the right talent. And I'm going to talk about culture very shortly, but tell me the sort of early days of setting up Paradigm Shift Consulting. How did it all come about? When was it?
Yeah.
And where are we currently?
So started in 2011 as a sole trader. It was meant to be a way to get my life back, but it doesn't seem to have quite worked out that way, as it became a bit of a nice monster. Took on my first member of the team, Matt, who does a lot with us, Matt Cooper. So he's done a lot of our ops work, web work, probably about 8 years ago. Then Wayne joined us a year or so after that. And then Alex and Nick, and now we're over 20 people. So I think we've onboarded someone every month for the last 4 or 5 months. But I think someone said if you're the cleverest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. So for me, I look at specialists. I look at people who can plug the gaps that I can't. Alexandra, who works with us, we knew each other from before through our network, and she was asking for advice on being a consultant. I said, come and join our small, weird but happy family. It's kind of medium-sized, weird, happy family now. But culture is really important, as you're saying, you're going to go on to. But for us, it's about, do you feel safe where you work? I've worked with people who were physically sick in the morning because they knew they were going to go in, they're going to be bullied. I've even seen people forging sales contracts. They weren't very good at sales either.
I've seen it, Dave. I've seen it.
Yeah, but we're in a very strong position now. I'd say we're the leading consultancy for remedy work. The Ramsey's nightmares work. Dave's wholesale nightmares could be a thing next if I get a bug for the camera, and if anyone was prepared to do that. But it really started when I kind of used the MHRA, so it's the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency. I used their suspended license list as a dating site. Yeah. So people would be published on there when their license has been suspended. So say you do something that's clear and present danger to public health, you'll have an inspection. If it's bad enough, you'll be immediately suspended. If it's less bad, it will be 7 to 14 days to reply. This is what we're going to do to fix it. If it's a lower range critical deficiency, it could be 21 to 28 days, and it goes to the compliance management team. Yep. And the senior inspectors will try and manage it outside the highest authority. So I'd see people on there. I'll give them a call, say, look, you must be really stressed. I'd like to extend the hand of friendship. I'll come and see you. There's no charge. I'll do a free review of your letter, free half-day audit. Come and have a look at things and give you my best advice. If you want to go with me, that's great. If you don't, you don't have to. And that was incredibly successful. But it also allowed me to get a look at what they were doing and to see if they were crooked. And I did get mugged a couple of times. I think I was a bit naive because you try and look for the best in people. I think you should look for the best but be prepared for the worst. And sometimes you used to speak to the inspector. They said, well, you need to speak to the license holder. And often the license holder doesn't have a... Do I put this in a nice way? They don't have a grip on the reality of the situation, because a lot of the time, they haven't been inspected for years. They think, it's a tick box exercise, it's this, or that, haven't they got anything better to do? But inspectors don't want to suspend people. They don't want to stop business. They don't want to stop medicines being supplied. But if you're a risk to the chain, they have to. Their workload goes up. They're civil servants. I've got a lot of respect for the inspectors. I couldn't do what they do. Their work goes up, their money doesn't go up, and so really, they just want people to be compliant.
And you use the term there, Dave, and you can see the passion shine through when you mentioned it, the hand of friendship. On that note, how would you sort of describe your management style?
Consultative, but I like to be hands off. I want people to be their own cost center. I want people to build their own opportunity. I know it sounds morbid, but when I'm dead and gone, I want people to have skills that will carry them on. On that note, I'm looking at trying to make the company some sort of trust, so that my family benefit from an income, but they can't sell the company. We're getting a lot of offers. I think people are watching Companies House and seeing that turnover and profits are going up. But it's never been about that, and we see so many people going wrong because it's about the money. It's looking over there and they miss all of this bit, including all the legal bit, and making bad decisions, which is why, commercial people in pharma wholesale are often a source of the problem, or a very commercially focused senior leader, because it's numbers. But when you work in a corporate, for example, it's about the numbers. Yeah. You've got to hit these numbers, so then people start cutting corners, do silly things.
I think it's really great to hear that you've not lost track of your why when you first set up Paradigm Shift, and that still, dare I say, almost comes across that it's still very much the DNA of Paradigm Shift. I'm going to fast forward a little bit now. Northamptonshire Business Awards. Winners of the Family Business of the Year, multiple time finalists, sponsors of the awards. Why are awards so important to you guys? And you can say it's fine to have a great night out.
It's my favourite night out, actually, and I've said it, and I've alluded that it's better than Christmas, but I have to be careful what I say on video. I think it's important for people to see, and there are vanity awards, and we got some at the start. Sorry.
We can be
for giggles. But, you know, you can buy all the awards, but it doesn't mean anything. And I did actually say to someone who was trying to sell us an award, and I said to them, well...
sell you an award.
Well, I said, you've been nominated for this prestigious award, and for only £1,200, you'll get a page in the thing, and you'll get this award. And I said, that's amazing. Who nominated me? Oh, I can't tell you that. GDPR. It's like, because nobody did. You found me, didn't you? Come on, let's be honest. Oh, no. You know, this can help drive... So, and I said, look, let's be serious. And I did that, actually, with a couple, just for fun. And we got a big discount. I said, it doesn't interest me. It doesn't add any value, but it was fun. And we thought we'd do it properly. So we entered your ones. The one that we entered, I think, 21 Family Business of the Year was the first one we ever entered, actually. And we won. So that was quite gratifying. But I did used to write awards when I worked in community pharmacy for the Chemist and Druggist Awards. And I got finalists. I got 2 finalists in one year. We never won. We were trying to think, you must walk on water. But there was a lot of good competition. We had things like we had a pharmacist who had some amazing references from clients. She was talking about inhaler check technique. So, when you see people puffing and go, it should be an inward sigh. Here's a medical bonus for you here. So when you're using your puffer, it should be a bit inward. So, so the powder, because it's a powder-based medication or gas, it will go into the lung. If you go... it will just hit the back of the throat. So people were complaining about the bad taste, and it wasn't working. Because the whole point is that the drug needs to be in the lung. So she was a finalist for that. We had finalists for, the Medicine Use Review Champion of the Year. And it came from there. So it had been dormant for a while. I hadn't written an award since, I think, 2011. But I think we've had a lot of good things. I probably do need to get an award writer, actually, and can frame it better than me. They're also getting so busy now. But I think we're doing good things. We've got a lot of really good feedback.
Well, I think it very much with awards, it very much is earned. And in this instance, it's been earned, and it's the journey that you've been on. And I think that part makes it a lot more powerful when you've been through that journey. So, Dave, behind me, I've got lovely branding here, UK GDP Association.
Yes, we had our
annual conference.
Week.
Tell me a little bit more about it. What's it all about?
We stole your venue.
Oh, nice.
Because we love the venue. So we use the Northampton Town Centre, which I think is being rebranded, isn't it, to a Mercure soon.
Yep.
But we've had so many good nights there at your awards. I thought this is a really good venue. But the UK GDP Association, it's kind of been born of frustration. So we still, at Paradigm Shift Consulting, we still do free consults, initial consults. A lot of the time, people, when you say I do a free 5-minute consult, they'll try and milk you for about half an hour and you never hear from them. But I know I can spot those now.
A bit like this podcast.
It's all for charity, mate. But we do a lot of free work. So if someone has a bad letter, I'll do a free review. We'll take 30 to 60 minutes, dependent on the person. If it's a dead loss, I say, look, you need to terminate your licence. You've permitted over £200,000 worth of medicines reach patient level that were diverted out of the supply chain. They've been stolen. You've drop shipped them to people. Mm-hmm. You've caused other companies to be suspended. You've caused millions of pounds of damage. And you're saying to me that it doesn't matter what it costs, Dave, I want you to fix it. You can't say that. You can't say that to consultants, apart from Honest Dave and his team. But you can't. And for me to then go to someone in Department of Health and say, oh, but, hand on heart, this is the best thing for the patients. It's obviously it wouldn't be. And you need integrity in what we do. But we've helped people close their business. So when people have had a critical incident, they're at risk of losing their business and their house. How can you charge? It's not a huge amount of work. It's a bit of negotiation with the Department of Health to help them terminate and close down. But I don't bill for that. We've we built a bit of a fan base from that. But a lot of these things that we've done for free, this is why I can't have investors or sell any shares. We've got, why are you doing that? We get offers to buy the company all the time, but it's because people want to make money out of it, and that's not the main purpose of the business.
That's that why, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Helping people, having a safe environment for the team. But with the UK GDP Association, I had the idea some years ago. I have lots of crazy ideas, but this is a good one. But we started 4 years ago. The pandemic hit, and then the accouantants hadn't filed, so it was dissolved. So if anyone's looking at our history, we weren't struck off for anything bad. We just didn't do anything through COVID. So then we reset, and we decided 5th of January this year, right, we're going to do it. And a couple of the team were side-eye, don't want to touch that. But I had a lot of help from the team. So Nimesh and Matt in particular, Jenna and Mags, but the whole team. You've probably seen some of our social media whoring recently.
You did take over LinkedIn. I'll give you that.
I've realised if you tag everyone and their dog, then you get a lot more exposure. But I think I've got 3,700 followers. We had about 8,500 views on that. We had almost 1,000 views. When we put the link out free of charge for people to watch, we had nearly 1,000 views on YouTube. So that was good, as it was live. But I thought, well, we need to do something. And the simple models, so people were charging the same money whether you've got a small fleet of vans or your Pfizer. I'm sorry, Pfizer, I'm very happy to charge you, high commercial rates and other companies that can afford it. But smaller businesses who are still an essential part of the supply chain don't have the support. If someone says, oh, we're going to do an audit for you and it's going to cost you, a couple of grand or $3,000 for a day, and all they do is give you a list of things you've done wrong. And you say to them, well, how do I fix it? Oh, nice consultancy, my friend. Let me put my other hat on and come back in and give you another business card. So the way we've run our audits, we'll go in, but as we're working with the client, we'll say, these are the things that you could do. And we can say that because the team that I have with me have done the job. Whereas you have a lot of auditors or a professional auditor and they'll find all sorts of things, but they've never done the job. So how can they give you a suggestion of how to fix it? The book says, or you could try this, and it's incredibly unsatisfying for people, particularly if you paid the equivalent of a month or more salary for one of your warehouse team to be given a nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing like a been there, got the T-shirt approach in many instances. You speak there about supply chain so passionately, Dave, and small business, and you spoke so passionately about using a local venue for your awards, your conference. Why is local business important to you, considering you work on a national and even global perspective in many instances?
I think it's about trying to make a difference. We do have our charities that we support, so Intercare, who supply medical equipment and medicines to Africa, Malawi and various other different places. So they were our guests. We provide training for them. We invited them free to the conference as well. Had a little table for them with their leaflets, and we're going to try to do a bit of work with them. Most of all the office team are fairly local. I mean, Wayne's out in Kettering, Steve, Matt, Liz, Becky are all around Rushton area where our office is.
Yeah.
Which looks a bit dodge. It's above Commerce Windows. So we've got the whole floor of Commerce Windows. And we did look at moving, and we looked at, I spoke to a local councillor and I said, we're going to give you a rate reduction if you go to Colworth House. And I think Colworth House. They've got Unilever, have their base, they've got their science wing, they've got the cafe, really fancy. But it was going to be probably 4 times the amount of money and an extra 6 miles travel for everybody. So it just didn't stack up. So our strapline, which some people like, some people don't, a paradigm is where common sense is common.
Yeah.
So we just try and think about it. And so for the sake of ego, do I spend more money and make everyone's life more difficult and then risk losing people, which we don't want to do? We're right across Hall Park as well, which is great. We're doing 100 miles in May. Sponsor us, please. So we're doing 100 miles in May. Last Tuesday, actually, the day before the conference, I managed to do 7 miles, 17,000 steps preparing. But I almost had a bit of a mental breakdown, I think, on the second day of it. I couldn't get out of the office. It was so busy. I did only 0.6 of a mile. So I called Pauline, who's one of the other walkers. I go, oh, I can't get out. I'm really stressed. Oh, don't worry. You know, I'll make up your miles for you. I thought, oh, okay, man up. Get on with it. Stick it on the dog. Throw the ball. But no, I managed to catch up. So we've got over it. But me, Nimesh, Alexandra and Pauline are doing this. I did 100 push-ups last year. And I think the worst one with that was waking up at 10 minutes to midnight because I'd fallen asleep and I hadn't done my push-ups. And I did 100 in 10 minutes. I was trying to space them through the day in sort of blocks of 20, 25. But yeah, I think it's really important. I'm looking at, hopefully when the charity is turning a profit as a non-profit. So I'm the sole director. I can't take dividends. People say, oh, but you can pay yourself. And so I can't. Not now. Because we've pumped a lot of money in from Paradigm Shift, but I want to look at areas local to my team. We want to look at food banks. We want to look at what other overseas support we can offer or support to those in our network. But, you know, priority first is my team and their families, and then the people that we have around us. So we're in a very lucky, it's been hard work. You know, it's just point blank luck. And you know, it's been a lot of effort to get where we are. And I think having a business to slowly get rich, and quite a few people said, oh, but you know, if someone offered you 3 million for Paradigm, you'd take it. And I said, well, I wouldn't. What am I going to do? I've betrayed everyone. I haven't got the millionaires that I know all work. And if you think about it in the real world, 3 million quid isn't a lot of money if you don't have a business that's continuing to support you. And I get bored. You told us 2 years, you're not allowed to do any of what you do. And I do what I do because I love it. You know, we can fix problems and get paid for it. Get paid to talk, Sonny.
Nice.
Do it for free.
I think I know the answer to this one, Dave, because it's shone throughout this last sort of 30 minutes. Casting back to 2011, setting up Paradigm Shift Consulting, what advice would you give to yourself now, knowing what you know now when you first set up the business?
Gosh. I don't know that I would. So I think people say, oh, is there anything that you regret? And I think generally a lot of the time we do have regrets. I think the best thing you can do is, if you have a regret about something, is apologise. And moving forward, try not to do things that you know you'll regret. But a lot of people aren't self-aware or that bothered. You know, I think if we're naturally selfish, and if you look at babies, for example, they're the worst example of human beings, and children as well. And then the worst adults I met are the people that haven't got out of their childish habits and you know, greedy, selfish, foot stamping. I think for me, it's how can I serve? How can I best serve people? I was very lucky that my wife Evie had supported a lot, and just the great team that I've got around me. I think I don't know that there's anything that I would say. I think maybe I would. Okay, I've got one piece of advice to me is do more due diligence. Don't necessarily believe everything that people tell you, even if they're nice and likable. Sometimes they're deluded. And that's the best circumstance. Sometimes they're just outright liars and they're bad people, but they're clever. So there's a guy who's a professor at Wharton University. He says you've got givers, takers and matchers. Adam Grant. So statistically, roughly 1 in 5 people is a giver, 1 in 5 people is a taker, and the others are matchers. So the way I run my business is we pay forward. Everyone gets something. And then you give proof of life. So if you pay forward and say there's no expectation, the people that will reciprocate, the givers and the matchers, will look to pay back. People I really like will get a couple of things. People I really, really like will get 3, and then that's it. You know, if it's charity, it doesn't matter. There's no limit. If people are having a hard time, there's no limit. But there are a lot of very clever people who've made a lot of money using other people. And that was one of the things I've learned. So I think be a bit more careful. Don't expect people to be the way you are. We have our own maps of the world, and often we will think about people and we will identify our own characteristics. You might see matches and they're like me. A lot of the time people aren't.
Yeah.
Trust your intuition. Maybe I'm coming out more. You're pulling it all out of me now, Sonny. But trust your intuition, and if people don't feel right, thought waves do have a frequency. You can measure a thought wave. If someone's making you uncomfortable, there's generally a reason for it. Sometimes it's because someone's having a bad day, but more often than not, it's because they're maybe not who you think you are, who you think they are. Too much sugar in my tea.
Solid advice there, Dave. I really do think that due diligence piece is massive, particularly when it comes to processes and compliance. We've gone well over our 30-minute allocation, which is very surprising.
Amazing.
Not surprising at all.
Only felt like 5.
I'd like to finish on, look into that camera right there, Dave, and where can the audience find out a little bit more about Paradigm Shift and what you're doing at UK GDP Association? I'm sure some of the audience would be keen to engage with you.
Okay, thank you. So for the businesses that we have paradigmshiftconsulting.co.uk, possibly the world's longest domain name. We couldn't find anything better. It took me 3 days to get that one. I've been waiting for paradigmshift.com to close down for about 10 years, but they haven't. We have actually bought